Hi, I'm Julie Ward. I'm a teacher of Body Recall and also a trainer. I started teaching Body Recall in 1987 and began training teachers in 1992.
Okay. So, Julie, how'd you get involved in Body Recall?
Well, my husband was a recreation director at a church, and he went to a national conference in Florida. And Dorothy was there with some of her students, and he came home and he said, "You've got to find out something about this program." Well, that was back in the days before internet, before you can just Google something. So it took me going back the next year with him, and I took a senior adult recreation class, and the gentleman teaching it was from Arkansas. But he had Body Recall at his church and actually had the brochure from the headquarters of Body Recall that I was able to get in my hands. So I made a contact and was in training within just a few months.
Yeah. Well, what was your background before you got into this?
My background was in dance and physical education. And in fact, I was teaching senior adults exercise, but I was afraid of them. They looked fragile. I didn't know what was safe for them. I was afraid to work with them, and I just did some very simple things and kept them probably way below their potential, but I just did not have any idea what to do with them.
So, what did you see in Body Recall that made that so different for you?
Well, at first, when I went to Body Recall, I was expecting something that would not challenge me, since I considered myself an athlete. But I discovered right away that even though the work was simple, that it was challenging. It was possible for everybody to do, but I was personally challenged by it. But it gave me a method, it gave me a hope, not just for my own life, but a hope to take back to students, and a plan. Now I had a plan, and I wasn't afraid of older people anymore.
Okay. Had you seen any programs out there at that time that were similar to Body Recall?
No, and I haven't since. There are a lot of good programs out there, but I don't think there are any that are so inclusive, so broad, that cover the needs of not just older adults, but everybody, as long as we live, that reach the population that we reach.
So it's still as unique now as it was then?
Yes, if not more. We have discovered over the years, it started for older people, but we have discovered there are many, many people that perhaps they just don't like the other kinds of traditional exercise, or perhaps they're struggling with challenges in their life that make traditional exercise not an option. And so we have embraced everybody more than we ever thought that could benefit from the program.
Well, let me ask you this. You started out as a teacher, but I understand you quickly became a trainer in the program.
Well, I did that quickly in 5 years. It took 5 years of working hard to be a very good teacher. I came back as often as I could for more training. Every year I returned and was a very active teacher, grew my classes, split them up into intermediate and advanced teaching groups, and had a good knowledge of the material. But I knew at my first training that I wanted to be a trainer one day, so I set that as my goal. And but it took 5 years, but it was worth it.
How many teachers would you say you've trained over the years?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I've done probably about 100 beginning trainings, and so you kind of average maybe sometimes 20 a training, sometimes 10. So you can do the math, but I can't even begin to put a number on that.
Okay. And they've come from all over the country, right?
All over.
Okay.
That's the best part, meeting people.
Okay. So what would you say in your estimation makes a good teacher?
A good teacher, first of all, I think a good teacher must have an excitement for life, a positive attitude, because a lot of times you're working for people that don't have that for lots of reasons. So if you can come in and inspire and translate that into positive action in their lives, I think that makes a good teacher. A good teacher always has to be a lifelong learner. Never quit learning, and be willing to put in the work it takes to stand before a class knowing you've done your best to give them something that day, so that they walk out a better person in many ways than when they came in.
Excellent. Well, let me ask you this. We have a number of teachers who teach in a variety of locations throughout the country, and some of them are moving up the ladder themselves. You said it took you 5 years to get to trainer status. If any of the teachers out there wanted to become a trainer, I guess I'd ask the same question. What would make a good trainer?
Well, you know, we do have a lot of teachers that are qualified out there. If they would just take a good look at themselves and maybe what their goals are in relationship to body recall. You know, there are obvious skills in movement, working with music, good communication skills are important. It helps to have a high energy level because it's a pretty intense training. But more than ever, to embrace the philosophy of body recall, the attitudes, your life should reflect all of that and be able to pass on that passion to other people. I'll
tell you, passion is what I see at the core of body recall.
Yes.
Yeah, very much so. Let me ask you this. Our mission is lifetime fitness. What would you say, you know, we're a society that's aging. Any words of advice on staying healthy as we age?
Well, I think first of all, you need to just take charge of it. So many times we just want to go with the flow and whatever happens, happens. But there's a lot we can do. We can be proactive, we can step in, intervene, and take charge of our lives once again. And that includes making healthy choices about exercise, about what you eat. Make sure you're knowledgeable, be a lifelong learner. I think it's important to laugh a lot. And, you know, it wouldn't hurt just to forget how old we are and quit looking in the mirror. That'd be a pretty good idea.
Yes, I agree. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Julie. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay.